In the first we can discuss about Internet. Internet is full of information. Everyone read topics according to their interest and gain information. Internet is made up of billions of devices connected together and share information all over the world. Big amount of people don't know about that. Internet is divided into 3 categories. These are surface web, deep web and dark web. So today we can discuss about these 3 categories. Surface web. Surface web is the normal web which is visible for all users using Internet. The websites in the surface web is indexed by search engines. Google is the great example of search engine. The user can open websites and gain information. But the interesting thing is that the surface web is only a 4% area of Internet that the users used. The Internet is a more bigger place. But the big amount of people don't know. Surface web. Surface web is the portion of the World Wide Web that is readily available to the general public and searchable with standard web search engines. It is the opposite of the deep web. The section of the Internet that is being indexed by search engines is known as the surface web or visible web. The surface web is what users access in their regular day-to-day activity. It is available to the general public using standard search engines and can be accessed using standard web browsers that do not require any special configuration, such as Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft's Internet Explorer or Edge, and Google Chrome. Deep web. Deep web is the secret web which is not visible for normal user. The deep web consists of a website or any page on the website which are not indexed by search engines. The user can only access it if she has an authorized person to access it and has any permission like URL, username and password, etc. Deep web is used to store most personal information like cloud storages, any organization personal data and military data, etc. Deep web. Deep web is part of the World Wide Web whose contents are not indexed by standard web search engines for any reason. The content of the deep web is hidden behind HTTP forms, and includes many common uses such as webmail, online banking, and services that users must pay for, and which is protected by a paywall, such as video on demand, some online magazines and newspapers, and many more. Content of the deep web can be located and accessed by a direct URL or IP address, and may require password or other security access past the public website page. The deep web is the portion of the web that is not indexed or searchable by ordinary search engines. Users must log in or have the specific URL or IP address to find and access a particular website or service. Some pages are part of the deep web because they do not use common top-level domains (TLDs) such as .com, .gov, and .edu, so they are not indexed by search engines, while others explicitly block search engines from identifying them. Many deep websites are data and content stored in databases that support services we use every day, such as social media or banking websites. The information stored in these pages updates frequently and is presented differently based on a user's permissions. Dark web. But now we can discuss about the most dangerous part of the Internet, which is called dark web or darknet. Dark web is illegal to used. All criminal activities are acted upon on dark web. The criminal activities like drug stealing, killing humans, etc. The user can only access it if the user has Tor browser. The Tor means the onion router. It can make layers of many IPs and the user surf the Internet anonymously. Many dark web websites are banned by Tor, but the dark web is totally not cleared. So my decision is that don't go on the dark web because it was illegal and I am not responsible for any bad thing. The writing of this article is only for knowledge. I don't promote illegal activities and I am not responsible for any illegal activity. I hope after reading this article you can know about what is surface web, deep web and dark web. This is my opinion about this topic. If I can take any mistake, please comment me and I am waiting for your response. Dark web. The dark web is defined as a layer of information and pages that you can only get access to through so-called overlay networks, which run on top of the normal Internet and obscure access. You need special software to access the dark web because a lot of it is encrypted, and most of the dark web pages are hosted anonymously. The dark web is a less accessible subset of the deep web that relies on connections made between trusted peers and requires specialized software, tools, or equipment to access. Two popular tools for this are Tor and I2P. These tools are commonly known for providing user anonymity. Once logged into Tor or I2P, the most direct way to find pages on the dark web is to receive a link to the page from someone who already knows about the page. The dark web is well known due to media reporting on illicit activity that occurs there. Malicious actors use the dark web to communicate about, sell, and/or distribute illegal content or items such as drugs, illegal weapons, malware, and stolen data. However, just like the surface web, there are several legitimate activities on the dark web as well, including accessing information, sharing information, protecting one's identity, and communicating with others. Many news organizations operate on the dark web to protect confidential sources. Why does it matter? Understanding the difference between the surface web, deep web, and dark web provides context for election officials as they build both proactive and reactive cybersecurity programs. For instance, data such as voter lookup information is stored on the deep web in many states. A user can only access their information using the voter lookup tool available on the surface web. Misconfiguration that exposes sensitive data intended for the deep web to the surface web is one of the most common sources of data breaches. Context on the various levels of the web is also valuable when responding to an incident affecting an election office or reading media or intelligence reporting regarding malicious cyber activity. By understanding the differences, election officials and their staff can more effectively determine the right course of action in remediating an incident or identifying information belonging to their organization that has been compromised and leaked. What you can do. Considering the many facets of the web, there are a number of actions election offices can take to secure themselves. At a minimum, election offices should review their own data and information stored on the web to ensure it is properly configured and only accessible to authorized users. Election offices interested in identifying the illegal posting of election information on the deep and dark web should do so with caution. There are several services available for mature, proactive organizations to collect information from the dark web for situational awareness and threat intelligence. When gathering information from the dark web, please consider the following. Prior to directly accessing the dark web or responding to malicious activity involving the dark web, election offices should consider engaging with their law enforcement partners. Many law enforcement organizations have experience with investigating and communicating on the dark web. Be aware of the potential for your computer to be compromised while browsing the dark web. Use a virtual machine (VM) to reduce the risk of infection or compromise. VMs provide a virtual layer between the system you are using and the physical network you are operating on. This can act as an additional layer of security and be erased if the VM is infected with malware. Do not assume that information posted to the deep or dark web is secure simply because it is difficult to locate. Do not assume that you cannot be identified, even when using software and visiting websites that promise anonymity. If you identify information belonging to your organization on the dark web, do not attempt to communicate with the source of that information or share that information widely. In the past, malicious actors have posted such communications publicly, and they may use details of those communications to conduct additional malicious cyber activity.